This is an instructional video program offered as an educational tool for the development of active or hopeful participants in amateur roller skating competition and persons who are or may wish to become coaches and or judges of amateur artistic roller skating competition. The techniques in the disciplines of artistic roller skating that it illustrates are recognized by USA Roller Sports Figure Skating as official standards for which successful competitors are expected to strive, towards which competent coaches are expected to teach, and by which commissioned judges are expected to score. Viewers are encouraged to utilize all the technology available on video playback units such as still frame, variable play speed, and instant review, to individualize as much as possible the presentational pace of the instructions and illustrations. The subject of this program is inline free skating and is presented as part of the USA Roller Sports Figure Skating Program. Your coach and commentator is Carl Henderson of Germantown, Maryland. Welcome to USA Roller Sports instructional figure skating video, Artistic Inline Free Skating. Let's start by looking at what equipment is currently available for the inline free skater. At the present time, there are 3 artistic plates in use by the inline free skaters. Triax, made by the Snyder Skate Company, Atlas Inline by the Atlas Skate Company, and Pick Frame by Harmony Sports. The Snyder and Atlas inline skates are both 3-wheel models with an adjustable height rubber toe stop built into the front of the skate for toe jumps, pivots, and stopping, much like the toe pick on an ice blade. If used with all 3 wheels the same size, all the wheels will be in contact with the floor at the same time. To create a curve configuration, we can use a rocker wheel as the middle wheel, and that would be 2 millimeters larger than the front and the back wheels. Example, a 72 millimeter wheel front and back with a 74 millimeter wheel in the middle. The rocker configuration is used by many skaters to help in spinning. The outer backspin would use the outside pressure of the toe wheel and the middle wheel. The toe wheel being the center of the spin and the middle wheel making the outer circle. The inside backspin would use the inside of the front 2 wheels, the toe wheel as the center and the middle wheel creating the outer circle. The outer forward and most difficult spin would use the outside of the heel wheel and the middle wheel. The heel wheel would become the center of the spin and the middle wheel again creating the larger circle. The pick frame has a 3-wheel model for small size skates and a 4-wheel model for the larger sizes. The pick frame has a rocker or slight curve built into its frame, much like an artistic ice blade. The toe stop is rubber and circular in shape that almost looks like another wheel, but it's set to respond much like a toe pick on an ice blade. The pick frame uses all the wheels the same size due to the built-in rocker. The 4-wheel model extends a little behind the heel, much the same as an ice blade. As far as boots are concerned, a fairly firm boot with a good counter is necessary to give the skater solid support on inlines. All of the major boot makers have boots that are more than adequate for inline competitors. A point to keep in mind is that the mounting of the inline plate is much like an ice blade in that the mounting is a little more critical because there may be a slight difference from skater to skater to set the balance on each foot. As you look at the inline skate, it becomes obvious that the skate won't be controlled exactly like a quad skate, nor is it exactly like an ice blade. The actual control of the inline skate is somewhere in between the quad skate and the ice blade, and yet there are similarities to both. Inline artistic free skating is a relative newcomer to the world of artistic competitive roller skating, but the skaters who have decided to try inline competition have really come a long way in a very short time. They've done so by first getting control of the basic inner and outer, forward and backward edges, developing 1-foot turns, mohawks, spread eagles, and pivots. The best source that I've found for a skater to develop control of the inline skate are the Moves in the Field test offered by USA Roller Sports. They pose an interesting and enjoyable method for gaining the control needed to prepare a quality free program. Since not too many skaters are really familiar with the moves in the field tests, we will start by quickly going through the first 3 tests to demonstrate what can be learned and how the information and skills can be used in becoming an inline free skater. The first segment of this tape will be a demonstration of the first 3 moves in the field tests. We will not do the free skating portions because the free skating will be covered as we demonstrate the jumps and spins that follow. The moves in the field tests are geared to achieve 4 primary goals: edge quality, power, extension, and quickness. The first part of test number 1 is the connecting move section, and we start with figure number 1, forward perimeter stroking. The skater must perform 4 to 8 straight strokes depending on the length of the floor, with crossovers around the ends, using the full floor surface and for 1 full lap of the rink, and this is in both directions. The introductory steps are optional. We need to try to keep the back straight, the free leg extended, and the arms level. Now, it is also important to have good ankle and knee bend and stroke with your feet close together. The primary focus is on power, and the secondary focus is on extension. Our second figure, basic consecutive edges, consists of outside forward edges, inside forward edges, outside backward edges, and inside backward edges. The skater will perform 4 to 6 semicircles, alternating feet and using an imaginary baseline. It's necessary to develop a reference to the axis for each and every curve. Hopefully, we'll try to use a 90-degree axis for all of the edges involved. The primary focus throughout the basic consecutive edges is edge quality. Third figure is the waltz 8. The skater performs the waltz 8 using a large circumference circle, in this case 6-meter circles, completing 2 patterns on each foot and performed with control. We divide the circle in 3 parts. The first third is the 3 turn, the back edge is the second, and the forward edge as the third. The tracing is not the most important. Solid body positions are very important. The primary focus is on edge quality. In our second test, we start with figure number 1, the forward crossovers and back cross pulls. The skater performs the forward crossovers in a figure 8 pattern. The skater may use figure circles. 5 to 8 crossovers per circle are recommended. 2 full figure 8s are required. A 1 or 2 foot glide may be utilized when changing circles. and the introductory steps are optional. The skater will perform backward crossovers in a figure 8 pattern. The skater may use figure circles. 5 to 8 crossovers per circle are recommended. 2 full figure 8s are required. A 1 or 2 foot glide may be utilized when changing circles. Introductory strokes are optional. The primary focus is power. Our next figure, the consecutive outside and inside spirals. The skater performs right foot and left foot spirals. The outside edge spirals will be skated for the first length of the rink. The forward crossovers may be utilized around the end of the rink. Inside forward spirals will be skated for the second length of the rink. The exact number of spirals will depend on the size of the rink and the strength of the skater. The extended leg in the spiral should be held at hip level or higher. The primary focus is extension, and the secondary focus, edge quality. Our next figure, forward power 3 turns. The skater performs outside forward 3 turns to a balanced position followed by a backward crossover. 3 to 6 sets of 3 turns will be skated depending on the length of the floor surface. The skaters may begin this move with either right or left 3 turns. Backward crossovers around the end of the rink are optional. The primary focus is on power. Figure number 4, alternating forward 3 turns. The skater performs alternating outside forward 3 turns for the full width of the rink. The skater will then perform inside forward alternating 3 turns for the second width of the rink. The size of the rink and strength of the skater will determine the number of 3 turns skated. The primary focus is on edge quality. In Test 3, the fundamentals of free skating must be demonstrated, although not necessarily mastered. Good edges, flow, extension, and posture are required. Our first figure, forward perimeter power crossover stroking, counterclockwise only. The skater performs 4 to 6 sets of lobes covering each length of the rink, followed by forward crossovers around the ends of the rink. The stroking will cover 1 full lap of the rink. Introductory steps are optional. The exact number of steps in stroking patterns will depend on the size of the rink and the strength of the skater. The primary focus is power, the secondary focus, extension. Our next move, backward perimeter power cross-pull stroking, counterclockwise only. The skater will perform 3 to 6 sets of lobes covering each length of the rink. Backward crossovers are skated around the ends of the rink. The stroking will cover 1 full lap of the rink. Introductory steps are optional. The exact number of steps in the stroking patterns will depend on the size of the rink and the strength of the skater. 2-foot transitions should be used. Primary focus is on power, and the secondary focus is on edge quality. Our next move, figure 3A and B, 3 turns in the field. The skater performs forward 3 turns alternating to back 3 turns covering the length of the rink. The end sequence is optional. One length of the rink will start with right outer forward, left inner back 3s. On the second length of the rink, the skater will perform left outer forward, right inner back 3 turns. On the third length of the rink, the skater will perform right inner forward, left outer back 3s. On the fourth length of the rink, the skater will perform left inner forward, right outer back 3s. The number of sets of 3 turns will depend on the length of the rink and the strength of the skater. The primary focus, edge quality. It's helpful to use a 90-degree axis as we start the turns, and it's preferable to try to put the 3-turn itself at the top of the circle, at the very top of the lobe. Keep the arms as level as possible and maintain the movement evenly. Our next move, the forward and backward power change of edge pulls. The skater performs consecutive power changes of edge pulls, the outer inner forward to inner outer forward for the full length of the rink, followed by backward change of edge pulls, outer inner back to inner outer back for the second full length of the rink. The skater will change feet at the center of the rink, and the end sequence and the choice of introductory steps are optional. The primary focus is power. Our next move, the 5-step mohawk sequence. The skater performs alternating inside forward mohawks, skated in consecutive half circles. Each series consists of 5-step sequence. The skater will skate 1 full lap of the rink. The end sequence and the choice of introductory steps are optional. The primary focus is edge quality. The secondary focus is extension and quickening. Our final move in the third test are the alternating backward crossovers to backward outside edges. The skater performs alternating back crossovers to outside back edges in consecutive half circles around the full perimeter of the rink. The backward crossovers will be performed around the end of the rink. Introductory steps are optional. The primary focus is power. The secondary focus is extension. In doing the inside back upright spin, it's necessary for us to use a very strong knee bend on the left foot so that we can bring the free leg around and draw the body up into an excellent upright position as we spin. Try to avoid using the toe stop on the initial entry of the spin. The outer forward upright on the inline differs somewhat from the quad in that the free leg, as we enter the spin, tends to be a little more forward on the outer forward than it would be on the quad skate. The outer back upright on the inline is very similar to the outer back upright on the quad. We use the front two wheels on the inline much like we would use pressure on the little toe of the outer back upright. The inside back sit spin is very similar to the quad skate in that we use a very soft knee on the entry at the spin. We keep the weight to the two front wheels on the inside back, and we try to maintain as low a position as possible in the spin itself, pulling directly straight up as we exit. The outer forward sit spin, which is extremely difficult, keeps the weight in the heel and the middle wheel. The free leg, as in the outer forward, is slightly forward to maintain balance and is a little different than it would be in a quad, where we would normally keep the free leg back. The outside back sit spin utilizes the toe wheel and the middle wheel. A strong ankle and knee bend is necessary, trying to keep the free leg as straight as possible as we drop down into the sit. The exit is normal as it would be in an outer back quad spin. In the outside back camel, we utilize the toe wheel and the middle wheel, and a strong bridge is necessary to support the outside back camel. As we do the inside back camel, we try to get a low entry, keeping the body low, and to start bringing the free leg and the hip up as we spin. It's extremely important to keep the free hip up as much as possible. There is a major tendency to run up onto the toe stop during the spin, and Particular importance should be paid to avoid the toe stop. Okay, this outer forward camel is done off of a travel. We keep the weight in the heel and the center wheel, the right leg and the arm pressed back as much as possible to maintain the pressure for the outside forward edge. In the traveling outer forward camel change outer back camel to an outer back sit, we keep the weight back in the outside forward camel in the heel to pressure back with the right leg very strongly, step a little wide to make the change off, press the left leg back very strongly up into the camel spin, and then as we drop into the outer back sit, pay attention to bending the ankle and the knee and keep the back as straight as possible, going down and back up. Next, on the inner back camel change outer back camel, the weight is centered on the front two wheels for the inside back camel. The free hip is up, the free leg as straight as possible. As we step off to the right inside forward edge and snap up into the camel, it's very important to press the left leg back as hard as possible and then create the bridge, lifting with that left leg. On the traveling outer forward camel change outer back camel, the weight on the outer forward camel is on the rear two wheels, the free leg back with the right arm also back, pressed hard. As the change is made, again we're pressing with the left leg back into the outside back camel, the weight on the front two wheels of the right foot. This flying outer back camel is done from a travel. As we do the jump, the right leg should come parallel to the floor as the jump is made. We land on the inner forward edge,